Gackers, yackers, welcome to the GAC Yak, a GAC TV podcast where we yak about the GAC. I'm Chad Maurice, and I have a dog on my head because today we are yakking about the K-9 Hero Awards with the hosts, Larissa Wohl and James Craigmyle. Larissa, James, thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for bringing the support with the dog on your head, too.
I like it.
I wore this just for you. I
figured you didn't wear it every day.
So before we dive into talking about the awards show, let's talk a little bit about your careers and how you got into working with animals. Larissa, everyone knows you. You've been on everyone's TV for the past few years, cuddling with cute little fur babies and preaching about shelter adoption. But you got your start in TV news. Is that right?
I did. Yes. I was always a big rescuer. My mom was as well. So growing up, that was just kind of our natural life. I mean, we were always bringing in random animals to the house. And then I started in television news. I was a journalist and an anchor, and I, kind of did everything and anything in the news world before transitioning over to Hallmark, which really was a kind of a random situation at the time. And then I was lucky enough to get to move in front of the camera again and work with animals for them and really grow Adoption Ever After, which was, a dream.
Oh, so were you involved with pet rescuing before that opportunity or what?
Oh, yes. So Funny enough, I was always the go-to animal rescuer when I worked in news. So there were so many times driving to work at 1 a.m. I'd come across a dog. And of course, the next thing you knew, it was running around the newsroom because I had to figure out what to do with it. So I always did rescue. And then when any stories, that needed to happen in the rescue communities, no matter what city I was in, it kind of they gravitated towards me. And I would have to beg and plead with my news director to let me do another animal story. And oftentimes they'd turn me down. So when I was given this opportunity to do nothing but animal stories, it was amazing.
Oh, okay. That's good. Now, James, you were in the service, right?
Yes.
What division of the service were you in?
I was an engineer in the U.S. Army.
Okay. Did you go into the Army right out of school or what?
I did. I went to the Army right out of high school, and then stayed in the Army until I started my law enforcement career.
Yeah. You were also a policeman, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now, is that when you started working with dogs, when you were on the police force?
It was, yes. So I started, my passion, I've always been an animal lover, but my passion really derived from being in the DARE program in 6th grade in elementary school, when the DARE officer would bring his dog to school with him. And I thought, how awesome is that? You're going to bring your pet, because I didn't know what canines really did back then, except for bite people. But this officer got to bring his pet to school with him or to work with him every day. And I thought, that's what I want to do. So I set a goal for myself, and eventually, after my service in the military, I was able to become a canine handler for the largest sheriff's office in the state of Missouri. And luckily, I had an international certification, so that allowed me to meet a lot of people throughout the entire world that were training dogs, rescuing dogs, and then I became an instructor. And Live PD came along, and I helped develop and co-host America's Top Dog on A&E. Became good friends with the founder of Project K-9 Hero, and just loved the project that he does, and able to continue doing what I'm doing. And much like Larissa, now I actually get to do it in front of the camera and talk about all these amazing dogs out there, the rescue dogs, the animal shelter dogs, that help people, not just in law enforcement of the military, but also with medical conditions or any type of issues that they have. And just being able to recognize all of our heroes out there, four-legged, because we recognize the two-legged heroes all the time that are running into buildings and dodging bullets and doing all this crazy stuff that we do, but we don't talk about the four-legged heroes that don't have a voice. So I think it's great that we get to do this. And I love working with Larissa on this project. It was awesome.
We had a lot of fun. It was a long day and my feet were killing me after, I think, minute 15. So as you can imagine, James was very helpful, offering me a chair between, takes, and and I was sitting on the floor when I could. But again, look, you can't complain when you have a long work day that includes cuddling with dogs, talking about dogs, giving a voice to these heroes, because as James said, that is what they are. I mean, they do things no human wants to do, and they have the ability to do it well, whereas even humans who want to do it wouldn't be able to pick up on what these dogs do. So it's amazing. It's an amazing show, and I will tell you there's a lot of emotions that go into it.
Yes.
So, James, when you were in the military, did you do anything with dogs then or not?
I did. The only thing that I did with K-9, so I was in from 98, and then 9/11 happened. I ended up deploying to Afghanistan and Iraq through back-to-back tours. But in between them, the military really heightened up their security at the military posts. So at the front entrances, we had military working dogs that were guarding our front entrance alongside the humans. And I ended up getting the bite sleeve for the very first time in my life and taking a real bite, not a live bite, not a real bite on my arm or my flesh, but through the sleeve with a military working dog. And I thought, that's it. That's what, because everything just started coming together from when I was this little boy in 6th grade to now I've taken a bite. I thought I was the best thing since sliced bread, just taking a bite from a military working dog. It was amazing. And I thought, I want to do that in law enforcement. And I choose law enforcement in the sheriff's office that did not have a K-9 unit when I started.
Oh, really?
It wasn't until 5 years after I started. No, it was a couple of years after. 5 years. I started in Greene County in 2004. 5 years after that, we got a K-9 unit, and I got to be the third handler at Greene County. So all of my dreams come true. So everybody listening, your dreams can come true. I promise.
I agree. I feel the same way. Things fall into place when they're supposed to.
Yes, they do.
Now, when you were in the police force, did someone teach you how to train the dogs? Because you had to learn somehow.
Yes. So my mentor, one of my best friends, one of the most world-renowned canine trainers out there, Phil Yarnell. He lives here near Springfield, Missouri. He taught me everything that I know about canines. And then I got to go to learn from some other amazing instructors throughout the entire world. I've trained from people from Germany to Florida to Colorado to California, New York, you name it. I've trained with them. And he taught me everything I need to know, from just understanding the language of a dog, on how to communicate to a dog to get that dog to do what you want them to do. Because the way that I got trained from, and people say a green dog in different aspects, but a green dog for me is a dog that doesn't know anything about law enforcement training or military training. They're bred, they have that natural abilities, that instinct in their heart to want to go out and they want to please the human. They want to go out and they want to bite, but that's it. They don't know what drugs smell like. They don't know what a toy is that pops out where the drugs are. They don't know how to track a human, but they have the natural instincts that dogs in the wild do. So I was taught dog psychology. I was taught how their nose work, how their senses work, and how to communicate to them what I want them to do. And throughout my entire career, I've been doing this now in law enforcement since 2009 with working dogs. I have learned how to communicate with them, and I can take, and I'm proud of this, I can take a dog that doesn't know anything and make them 10 foot tall and bulletproof and learn how to do that stuff. And then I've taken a lot of what I've learned, and now I'm helping just regular individuals with pets at home that have issues with behavioral issues or any type of other issues that they have, or just wanting to learn how to get their dog to sit and not jump on people, to teach them. Because my passion, the same as Larissa's, and Larissa and I have a very deep passion on this, is to keep the dogs out of the shelters and off the streets. And most time, the reason that dogs get abandoned or they get thrown out to the wayside is because the dogs aren't trained, because they're going to the bathroom in the house, or they're misbehaving and they're running off leash, or they're running out the door after the mailman, or they nipped at somebody. And that's what my true drive is to teach humans how to communicate with their dogs and understand why their dog does it. Take them back to that dog psychology, the natural wild tendencies of the animals, and to keep these dogs off the streets and out of shelters.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Many times the owners can't control the dogs. They don't know how.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's not the dog's fault. The dogs have been allowed to kind of take over.
Yes.
Usually it's the humans that don't know how to interact with their dog, especially as their dog gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that, as James said, is the number one reason why dogs are brought back, or either brought back to the shelter or taken to the shelter to begin with. So being able to explain to people what a dog's trigger is and why it's behaving a certain way, and give them hope that it can be, amended, is wonderful. So James, thank you for doing all that work.
Well, it goes to all of us, all three of us here that are actually reaching out to people. And the true reason we're here, Jason Johnson with Project K-9 Hero, and the organization that he started from the ground up. And I've been fortunate enough to have known Jason ever since he started Project K-9 Hero. My retired service dog is actually in his program. My law enforcement dog is. And to see the hard work and dedication that Jason has put in to give back to these law enforcement and military working dogs, because what a lot of people don't know, we'll take my dog, for instance. When my dog retired from the Greene County Sheriff's Office, Greene County said, he's yours to adopt, but we're not going to pay his medical bills. We're not going to pay his food bills. We're not going to pay his vet bills. And 2 months after he retired, he was on life-saving procedures at Columbia University fighting for his life. And it was $15,000 to $20,000. I called Jason. I said, Jason, I need some help. If you got anybody that you can contact. And he said, Project K-9 Hero is going to take care of 100% of it. And that is huge, because these dogs give their entire lives to protecting us and protecting humans from the most horrendous bad people out there, murderers and rapists and people who want to do bad things to you and break into your homes. And not only that, but to go help find the missing kids, to help find the adults that go missing. And they give so much of themselves. They ask for nothing back. They don't complain. They never have a bad day. They don't sit there and tell your problems to your neighbors or your family members. And Jason gives back to help all of these animals that he can. And that's why Project K-9 Hero is such a huge place in my heart. And I wish that everybody in the world could just donate $1. And if they could donate $1, think of all of the working dogs that we could help, that Jason could help.
If I can also add, any pet, or anybody who has a pet, I should say, knows that there are emergencies, that between vet visits, dental visits, regular food, training sessions, doggy daycare, whatever it is, pets are amazing, but they cost money.
Yes.
And these working dogs, if you can only imagine the wear and tear that they go through, more so than even your average animal or pet, it's, it can be tremendous on them. And you're talking about bigger dogs, Malinois, Shepherds. So they're already, more prone to joint and hip issues and all of that.
Yes.
And again, once they're, running around for 10 years trying to find drugs or missing children or whatever it is, that can put a lot of stress on their body. And so with this, you are able to adopt one of these dogs, give them the best golden years of their life, let them sleep in the bed, eat the treats, do everything they may not have done. And yet you can still financially take care of them, which is a big concern of everybody's. And I get it. It's expensive. It adds up, and people have lives and can't always afford that. So this organization just does so much amazing work. And I agree. If everybody could go on their website and donate $1, we can save lots more animals.
One of the reasons. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Larissa's right. I can't tell you how many attics that I put my working dog into. And if you've never been in an attic, you're literally walking on 2x4s or 2x6s up there in an attic. And we teach our dogs, and they walk on that, and they're fighting people in these attics. They're going in these ditches and these ravines, and they're getting their paws cut up by all of this metal and barbed wire, and out in the middle of the woods just to find 5-year-old Johnny, who may be autistic and walked away from home and can't find his way back. And now we've got our dog, and they're going out there, and maybe that dog steps on some metal object out there and slices their paw open, and the dog continues working. But what happens whenever that dog retires, and now all of these ailments that this dog has gone through throughout their entire career is now either the handler's responsibility to pay, or like Larissa said, Project K-9 Hero, they will sometimes get these military or law enforcement working dogs that didn't get adopted by the handlers, and they'll adopt them out to somebody like you, Chad. And now it's your responsibility to pay for these medical bills. But now they're in a program like Project K-9 Hero, to where all you got to do is show them love and give them that warm bed that Larissa was talking about, and Project K-9 Hero will take care of the rest.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, they cover the medical bills and food bills, right?
So I don't know about food, but I know that they're starting to do food. I know that they do 100% medical. I know that dogs that are the winning dogs, which people are going to have to tune in, but the winning dogs, Project K-9 has partnered with some amazing organizations out there to give back to the winners that people are going to see on Thursday. So
yeah. Well, one of the reasons people don't adopt a dog or a pet is because they can't afford the vet bills. That's one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if I could give a shout out to GAC for putting this on, it is not easy to put a show like this together, especially in the midst of the pandemic, because this, the planning started a while ago. So being able to get crews all over the country and connect with these families and get video of these dogs, it wasn't easy. And I just am so happy and proud that we're able to be part of it, and that it actually came to fruition. And, GAC, as all of you guys know, stands behind animals and adoption and taking the utmost care of your baby, fur baby. So I'm just proud to be part of that, and I know James is too. I mean, we stand by them and their beliefs on that.
I think whenever Jason got a hold of me and said GAC has picked this up and they're going to air this, they're going to run with it, I don't think I slept for a couple of days. And then the lead up to it. So Larissa and I, we had been talking for this for several months, like she said, and the lead up to this, and knowing that GAC, I grew up watching GAC. And I still love watching GAC and all the old shows that are on there that we watched, and to know that they're backing our military and law enforcement dogs and all dogs. You see all of these shows on there. I would love nothing more than to team up with Larissa and GAC and bring more awareness and do more pet shows. I tell you, if we had 24 hours of pet shows on GAC, nobody would watch anything else.
Hey, I'll sign that petition.
Yes.
So the K-9 Hero Awards, as you mentioned, they're presented by Project K-9 Hero. They're on GAC Family this Thursday, May 12th at 5 o'clock Eastern. Now let's talk a little bit about the history of Project K-9 Hero and this awards. Is this the first annual award ceremony that they're doing?
Yes.
Yes. I'll let James talk a little bit more about this, but yes.
This one.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yes, it's the first one that Project K-9 Hero has put on. I don't know for sure, but I believe Project K-9 Hero is the largest organization out there that assists with military and law enforcement working dogs. Because like I say, your city, your county, and your state agencies, most of them don't pay for their medical bills after they retire. So that's where Project K-9 Hero comes in. So yes, they are. And I just saw Jason, he had sent me an email earlier. I believe it's the VFW has partnered with Project K-9 Hero as well. I have to go back and check my emails, but Jason sent out an email earlier, and there was some good things that's coming out. He has our Congress people involved. He has senators involved. He has Larissa and I involved, GAC involved. I mean, you couldn't ask for some more heavy hitters than what he has. And he's building this huge facility to help out. And he is already chomping at the bits. I've already talked to him. He wants Larissa and I for round 2 of the GAC K-9 Hero Awards. So we're looking for the second airing on this. So we're hopeful.
Oh, good. Good, good, good. And
Yes.
just for those who don't know, you're talking about Jason Johnson, who is the president and founder of the Project K-9 Hero, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's in the show as well. He makes appearances, so you'll
Yes.
get to see him. Anybody who tunes in gets to see him too.
Actually, I believe last time I talked to Jason, this may change, but last time I talked to him, he got invited by the New York Stock Exchange a second time. He's going to be in New York, and he's going to hopefully have some cool things come out on Thursday, because he's going to be there Thursday for the New York Stock Exchange to ring the bell, the same day that this is airing for GAC.
Oh, okay.
Wow, fancy.
Yes. I told him, I said, here's what we need to do. We need to get GAC to somehow get his logo, everything, all of us plastered on Times Square all day Thursday.
Well, Chad is located in New York. So Chad, we're putting you to work.
You got it, Chad.
Let's talk a little bit about the dogs that are being honored and like who they work with and what skills that they have.
Yes, this is my favorite part. Sorry, James, I don't mean to.
No, take it. Go.
I mean, we're talking about dogs, all different types of dogs. They find explosives, they find narcotics, they do track and rescue. They do, I'm trying to think, patrol apprehension. We have a legacy award, firearms detection. I mean, these are dogs. And the thing that I love the most is that their training is all a game to them, which is a totally other, different subject, but just goes to show how amazing these dogs are, that for however long their training is, all they know is that they're finding, whatever it is that's going to give them a treat or a toy or a reward or some playtime or whatever, is their thing. And they go out and they do these jobs like you wouldn't believe. They are, when they know they're going out on a job, they get so excited, because of course that's always my thing. I don't want to ever see a dog that's like, oh gosh, time to go out again. I'm, my bones hurt. These dogs are ready and willing and running to do their next job, which is something that I love. And we did get to meet a few of them. They are just fantastic. They don't know what they've done. They don't realize they're a star and a hero. And they're just fabulous. And the human handlers is something I loved watching the dynamic of, because these are men for the most part. Not to say there aren't women, please don't get me wrong, but the ones that we met while filming were men. And they are stoic. They are taught to be, in the line of duty. And then to see them interacting with their dogs, where they kind of let loose and that kind of playful side comes out, is really magical. It's something that I hope people can take away from this show, a little bit about the animal spirit and the humans that work with them too.
Yeah. One dog in particular was shot in the face.
Ooh.
So people are going to see this dog and the handler and learn about the story and how heroic these animals are. And they don't know, like Larissa said, these dogs, they don't know that they're putting themselves in harm's way. They just know that mom or dad asked them to do something. They're so in love with mom or dad, and that's what they know. That's what they're bred for. That's what they understand, is going after that toy, going after that reward. And it's a game to them. It's fun. Like Larissa said, it's all fun to them. Mm-hmm. But then the unfortunate thing happens, like the dog you're going to see on Thursday that was shot, missing an eye, but I believe is just doing amazing now. And it's good. It's hard to talk about it sometimes, because for me, being a canine handler for so many years, putting myself in that situation of my partner being the one that shot, it's just, you can't help but feel that ball in your stomach and your heart wrench for the handler and the dog, and not only the handler and the dog, but the family that dog lives with, the husband or wife and the kids and the agency. It really touches everybody. And that's what's so great, that GAC is giving these dogs a voice to show the world why they deserve the awards that Project K-9 Hero got for them.
I have to say, the production company that put this on Pleasant Street, they sent me the videos ahead of time to see the stories. And they didn't warn me, like, oh, maybe watch them in this order. And so I start with the two saddest ones, not realizing. And, you know, I want to tell people this is a family show. This is a family network. There are some sad moments in this because of just the reality of what these dogs do. But to see the community, I think my tears really started flowing, not when you hear what happens to the dog, when you see the humans come forward to save the dog and to stand and wait by its, you know, room until they get the all clear that he's out of the woods. I mean, it's unbelievable to see how the humans reacted to this and how hurt they were. And it's amazing. It will really gives you faith in humanity and obviously in dogs as well.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned, Larissa, that the dogs come from the police, the military, and the fire department. Where do they get the dogs from?
Well, it depends. You know, there are some great organizations that supply dogs for this specific type of training. Now, I do want to say not all of them are rescues. Some of them are. So, you know, different organizations kind of pull from different places when it comes to it. And it's all about the instincts of the animals. You know, they are trained to go into their position to find whatever it is or to work with children. And if they don't have what it takes, they can't move on. I mean, it's just reality. So they kind of flunk out and then get adopted by other families that are waiting for dogs like this, which is something I'd love to mention too. If you're looking for a dog and would like to rescue, you know, you can sign up for these wonderful organizations that train animals, because not all of them get to work out and move on to the next level. You know, usually there's a wait list, but I would highly suggest if you've got the time and you're, you know, patient about it, it's a great way to rescue a wonderful dog that needs help. But these dogs go through rigorous training for months and have to pass, you know, a lot of tests, and hurdles to then be able to graduate and go on to these organizations.
Well, that was my next question is, how long does it take to train a dog to perform its duties?
James, you might be able to answer that more. I know that different organizations that do it, like State Farm does a lot, and they all have their own programs and testing kind of parameters. So I'm not exactly sure.
So it all depends on the type of dog and the performance of the dog that you want. Do you want we call it a single purpose or dual purpose in law enforcement and military. Single purpose means that dog has one function. They're either finding bombs, they're finding drugs, they're finding people, whatever the function is. A dual purpose means that the dog has two functions. They're either doing narcotics and patrol, or they're doing narcotics and bomb work. They do two different things. A dual purpose narcotics and patrol dog, through what I certify under, is usually 11 to 13, 14 weeks. And it all depends on the dog and the human on how quickly they pick up things, because what we teach dog psychology, we teach basic obedience, we teach everything to the handler, everything to the dog, all together. And oh, by the way, they also have to write papers. They have to write sometimes a 5 to 10 page paper on case law for narcotics detection, case law for patrol. And then they have to go in and they have to take a final written or a hands-on test with their dog, and they have to pass that. And there's different certifications out there. You get, mine's a PSP, which is an international certification. They've got NAPWADA, USPCA, NNDA. There are numerous certifications a dog can have. And Larissa is right. It depends on the discipline of the dog and what the dog is going to do for that agency. So it just varies. But typically, a single purpose is anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. A dual purpose is anywhere from 11 to 13, 14 weeks. So,
Okay. Now, can any dog be taught to do these skills, or does it take a certain breed or what?
It doesn't take a certain breed. Like Larissa said, it takes what it's in its heart. And some breeds are better than others. If you're wanting like a narcotics dog, you can have a lab, you can have a beagle, you can have a shepherd, you can have a Malinois. If you want a tracking dog, you can have a bloodhound, you can have a lab, you can have a Bavarian mountain hound, you could have a shepherd or a Malinois. And if you want patrol, that little beagle's not going to run in and bite somebody. So you're looking more at the Malinois, a Bouvier, you're looking at a shepherd, you're looking at more of those pointy-eared dogs like you got on your head there.
And if I could say, you know, for the most part, and this goes for rescue dogs too, because many dogs who have been in shelters have been taught to be part of these teams or teams in general that help with military and police. So, and it's not about the breed. It's A, the nose, and B, those that instinct, that drive. You know, a lot of dogs that, especially I know this to be true with shepherds, a lot of shepherds that are family dogs that don't work out because the shepherd clearly is not meant to be, you know, sitting on a couch. They end up in the shelter, and they can be taught the best skills to become a law enforcement dog because they have that. That's what they were meant to do. I truly believe every dog has a purpose, and some dogs aren't meant when they're younger to be, you know, a family dog. They're meant to be out there searching, seeking, working, being praised. That's their drive. And those are the dogs that end up doing so well.
Yes.
Now there's 7 different categories in this award show, right? And I think you mentioned most of them, Larissa, I think. There's patrol apprehension, detecting narcotics, firearms, explosives, accelerant, and tracking and search and rescue, right?
Yes.
So I got accelerant. Is that trying to figure out, helping the fire department figure out what caused the fire?
Yes.
Now,
so
I'm amazed.
This is my favorite one.
I'm amazed by this. Can a dog actually go in and sniff around and tell whether a fire was arson or not?
Yes.
James,
really? I'll let you speak more on this because you know the specifics and the science. But if I could just say, this is my favorite one because it is so amazing that these dogs can detect if a fire was, you know, meant to be started or an accident. It can save so much in terms of that search and figuring out who to apprehend if it was on purpose. And oftentimes a person, this is something I learned from someone that works in this world, a person who sets a fire will sometimes kind of hang around the area after. And sometimes these dogs have actually been able to kind of sniff out who did it, which is amazing as well.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the same concept. So whenever we teach a dog narcotics, whenever we teach a dog accelerants, whenever we teach a dog any type of bond making materials or explosive ordnance, we're not teaching the dog to find the actual chemical. We're giving the dog the chemicals, they're sniffing it out, and we're rewarding them for finding the right odor. So let's go take narcotics, for instance. I can take 5 different odors and I can what we call imprint a brand new dog that has never smelled these odors before a day in their life. I can imprint that dog in about 7 to 10 days. So that means that dog recognizes those odors, and I'm using a toy and I'm playing fetch with the dog. And I'm getting the dog to where they're like, okay, so this odor means that I get my toy. So when I find this odor, my toy's gonna pop out and I get to play and have fun with mom or dad. That's the same way with the accelerants. You take gasoline, you take any type of diesel, you take any type of an accelerant out there, and it's a basic chemical makeup, and you put that odor in these different boxes, and the dog goes by and sniffs, and whenever they throw their head, because they've been sniffing that for so long, you reward that behavior. So whenever a dog goes into a house fire, not while it's burning, but afterwards, the dog is sniffing for that odor, that accelerant, and whenever they find it, they give a prescribed response. That might be to lay down, to sit, to bark, to scratch, or just to sit there and look up at the handler and say, hey, it's right here. So then it's up to the human to take that sample, submit that sample to a lab, and then a lab confirms that the dog was correct. And then that's how they get the search warrant for the person who said it or attempting to find the person who said it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
amazing.
Oh yeah.
It is.
I mean, I've
Yeah.
talked for years about the magic dogs can bring or animals can bring just to you as a human, but to really get in the deep end of learning this from a working dog situation, it blows your mind.
Yeah.
It's remarkable what they do.
It is.
Now, the one category, patrol apprehension, does that deal with the border patrol? Is that what that's about? What's that about?
Not necessarily. No, patrol apprehension means that a bad person has broken into your house and the dog is called out because bad person takes off running into the middle of the woods or in the swamps.
Oh, okay.
And the dog is hot on his trail, tracking this person, finds the person, and then either the person gives up or they get a fur missile. So then they get a dog bite.
Okay, so that's similar to tracking, right?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
tracking. Yep, tracking, apprehension, suspect apprehension, detention, or border patrol as well. Yes, because they do the same on border. Yeah, do you have something, Larissa?
Oh, I was going to say there is an amazing story that you'll learn on Thursday where somebody who was ill goes missing, and the remarkable way and that the handler and the dog found this person through miles of I don't remember the specific terrain right now, but I believe it was snowing. I mean, this was one of those that it's like, gosh, you could a needle in a haystack, literally. and this person was found and able to be treated and back, reunited with his family. And it's just amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, the sense of these dogs, the sense they can pick up is just boggles my mind. I don't know. I can't fathom that. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
And they can separate. Dogs can separate smells.
Yep.
Unlike humans to the same degree. I mean, they can pick one thing out of an overall scent, which is.
I always use the analogy of spaghetti sauce. So whenever you are cooking spaghetti or you got the spaghetti sauce, you might be able to smell the garlic that's in it or the tomato, the aroma that's in it. If a dog comes in, a dog could pick every single ingredient in that spaghetti sauce out. And it's amazing because in law enforcement for narcotics, we have been teaching 5 different odors: marijuana, meth, ecstasy, heroin, and cocaine. And that dog gets all 5 odors and can differentiate between all 5 odors if you put them out in this big area, either for narcotics search for cars or buildings, or if it's buried or if it's up high. It's just amazing. It's like Larissa says, it's just to understand, coming from an instructor, I get it. I understand it because I teach it all the time. But for somebody sitting at home, that was a great thing about being on Live PD. We were able to educate the community on what we were doing and how the dogs do it and why we do it and what we can do with these animals. And I would love, because GAC is on the right track with picking up the animal shows and everything, I would love for us to be able to showcase through GAC more about these working dogs, because they do save so many lives, from infants all the way up to the elderly. It's not just about biting somebody or doing something to where it hurts somebody. It's all about protecting people. And I am so honored that GAC allowed myself and Larissa and Project K-9 Hero to do this through their network. I can't even begin to believe how many people I tell guess what GAC is doing.
And then another thing that these dogs do it's not directly their job, but amazing still, is that they become community ambassadors. They're going in, like James said, to schools, to community events, to nights out events that different cities and towns put on. And so they're interacting with kids who may not have a dog themselves, who may never be around animals. It's helping them learn how great animals are. It's helping just introduce them to being around dogs. And it really does help so many people, again, indirectly, but in such a big way. And, some of these dogs, one of them befriended a couple kids that the dog met on a school outing. And it's a pretty amazing story. I keep saying the same words: remarkable, amazing, wonderful, because the whole show is. But just to see how these animals can really change not only the lives of whatever it is that their function is, but just the people they meet in their everyday out and about world is great.
Yeah.
Now, as far as these award categories, is there only just one winner in each category? Is that the way it works?
Yeah.
For the first award, yes, and then the next year there will be a different winner for each category. Yes.
Yeah. How does it work? Is it like the Academy Awards where there's like more than one dog nominated for each category, and is it kind of like that?
It can be, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was, but the show itself, if I am correct in remembering how they've outlined it all, is down to the last contestant per category.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yes, and then there's also an end award, which is the K-9 Flash Legacy Award.
Yes.
Excuse me, which is kind of this overall special end of the show award.
Oh, okay. And how are the winners decided?
Good question. We thank goodness we're not part of that.
Oh yeah, I couldn't choose just one.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to see the other animals that were, because I'd never make this. This would be a 24-hour show. I'd never call on a winner.
Yeah, I think it said on the website there's some committee that decides, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. And I will never be signing up to be on that committee.
No. I just want to tell their stories. I'll let Jason and his committee decide who wins. I just want to be part of the storytelling and letting everybody know how amazing these dogs are.
What I was wondering is if the winners were voted on by their peers.
Oh, it's possible.
Now I got a question here. If Scooby-Doo were nominated, do you think he would win?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Scooby would win the Apprehension Award. Pause now.
Yes.
He's never worked with the police, but man, he solved many crimes in his time.
Yes.
It's funny because one of my rescue dogs who's asleep right now we call her, she's just a little off. So it's so funny to see these dogs that are doing these amazing feats and then come home to mine, and mine tries to jump on the couch and misses. And I love her to pieces and wouldn't want her to be any other way. But it's just so funny. I was so kind of in my head about all these really smart working dogs, and then came home to that. It was pretty funny. She won't be winning an award on this show, but she'll win the cutest dog award.
That's okay. I have a big bad police dog, and then I have a French bulldog. So I get what you mean.
Now, the award ceremony takes place in Washington, D.C., right? Is that correct?
No.
Oh, but didn't? Oh,
well, the original award ceremony was supposed to take place in Washington, D.C.
Oh, was supposed to. Oh, okay.
However, with precautions for COVID and all of that, we ended up having to do it slightly different. So the whole thing takes place in studio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got you.
But we're hoping to continue this partnership with GAC, continue to project and tell the world about all of these dogs through these awards, and just see if how big this thing grows. Nobody's going to know. But I have fell in love with the GAC family. Pleasant Street, they were amazing to work with. And I've worked with production companies all over the United States, working with Larissa and Jason and everybody. It has just been amazing. You hear some stories and you go to some of these productions and it's like, I don't know if I want to do that again. But this has been hands down the best that I have ever been with. And I couldn't think of anybody better than to project it through the world than GAC and Larissa. They've been amazing.
So were the winners there with you?
Some of them were, which was the best part about it, in my opinion. Sorry, James, no offense to you. But getting to cuddle with the dogs was, the highlight.
Yes. It was. And I would have loved to have had them all there. Yeah. But because of COVID and the way that everything was happening, and it was unfortunate because sometimes, the handler and the partner, the dog, the K-9, they weren't able to fly out to LA to see us because they probably had to cover a shift because one of their other partners had COVID. So it was unfortunate, but we are hoping that this second round of winners, we get to play with all of them.
Yes.
Maybe we can get Larissa in a bike suit for the second round.
In a bike suit.
Absolutely. No hesitation.
Yeah, it said on the Project K-9 Hero website that the winners, they paid for all their flights and their hotel accommodations for all the winners and handlers, that's amazing. I mean, that's a lot of money right there.
Yeah, and these teams, the handlers and dogs, are from all over. Oops, excuse me. And you know, their families came out too, which was really amazing. I mean, sorry to segue to this, but the families, you know, put up with a lot too. And seeing them get to smile and watch their husband, you know, or dog win this award was really neat to see too.
Now, these dogs that have won the award, are they still in service or are they retired?
Some are.
Some are still in service.
Some are still in service? Okay. Okay, that's what I wasn't sure about that.
There's a couple that have been retired.
Yes. And then like K-9 Flash, like we were talking about the final award, K-9 Flash is recent. He passed away, I believe, a couple of years ago. So Flash is no longer with us, but some of them are still working. Yes.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about, I was going to ask what happens to these dogs when they retire. And you mentioned they can be adopted just by anyone, right?
Well, not just by anyone, because as Larissa will attest, not just anybody can have a dog, especially a military working dog, because some people can't afford them because, you know, you do have other bills other than just vet bills and food bills for an animal. And you got to have it in your own heart to be able to adopt that animal and not just take it and throw it in your backyard for a sunny day whenever you want to play with them. So the military and law enforcement working dogs, they are a special breed. There is a process, like Larissa had said, to go through to adopt them. They do home visits. You have to come out and you have to be with the animal, because although you might be a dog person, that animal, they might not like something about you, and you just don't get along. So there is a very, very arduous process to adopt an animal. Larissa was hinting there, the military down in Texas, there's an air base down there where the dogs that don't make it into the military, they get washed out. And they're just sitting there waiting for adoption. And they do the same thing down there that Project K-9 Hero does. And some organizations, you had asked about where they get their dogs. There are different vendors, is what we call them in the military and law enforcement in the United States and overseas, that either raise the dogs or they go and they find these dogs and select these dogs specifically for tasks in law enforcement and the military. And if they don't make it in their programs, they will also usually adopt them out. But it is a very, very strict process, because these dogs, especially the ones that have retired, maybe they've been biting people for a living. Maybe they have a short temper. Maybe they're not good with other animals. So we have to make sure that the person that adopts these is vetted properly and that it's a good fit for everybody.
Yeah.
And if I may add, there's a story on Thursday's show about a wonderful woman who adopted one of these dogs and found out that it had PTSD. You know, so, and I only say that because it's just a reminder how much these dogs go through as well, and how you do have to be really committed to giving them the most comfortable, rewarding, you know, life for 10 years, 5 years, 3 years. It depends on the animal. And that, I don't mean that to scare anyone. The thing that I would love is for these dogs to find their forever homes, you know, and live out their lives. But it's just to kind of make people aware that these dogs do go through so much, just like humans. And sometimes you can't even wrap your head around what they've probably been through. And so there is a level of commitment to adopting one of these babies.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been very informative. I learned a lot. The K-9 Hero Awards, they're, like I mentioned before, they're on GAC Family this Thursday, May 12th at 5 o'clock Eastern. And GACers who are watching or listening, you have to tune in just to hear the acceptance speeches.
Yes. And also bring some Kleenex, but know that all of them are happy stories. They might be sad for a few moments, but they're happy. So please take a watch. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you'd like to see it again, hopefully.
Yes.
And yeah, feel free to reach out to James and I too.
Yes.
And if you would like to donate to the Project K-9 Hero, you can go to their website. It's projectk9hero.org. There's a link at the top of the site that says donate. Just click on that link and people can donate.
Absolutely.
James, Larissa, you want to drop your social media handle so people can follow you and see what organizations you're involved in?
Sure, James, why don't you go ahead?
No, ladies first.
Oh, thank you. Yes, so all my handles are at Larissa Wohl, WOHL, and then my website is savedbytheL.com. And I do have a rescue name, Saved by the L Rescue, too. So you can find out more about me, reach out. I also have a book club that is all animal related, and we meet once a month, which is a lot of fun. So you can sign up for the book club there, too.
And she will make you jealous because she goes to Hawaii to these rescue places and has these gorgeous dogs and these gorgeous views. And you're sitting here in Missouri wishing that it would stop raining.
I do have to say it was wonderful being in Maui and getting to help rescue dogs. So yes,
I saw those posts and I was wondering what you were doing out there.
And I will say, Kane, the dog, is in a trial to adopt. And
Awesome.
They have 10 days to decide. And as of last check, they still have him. So that's a good sign. And I'm hoping that it all works out for Kane. And that's through the Maui Humane Society. They're wonderful.
That is awesome. But next time you go, you got to take Chad and I.
Sure. Absolutely.
I got you, Chad.
Now, James, where can people find you on social media? Did you?
So I have Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Mine are all as well at James Craigmyle, and it's CRAIGMYLE. I do have the blue check mark, the verified check mark. There are a lot of imposters out there. So mine are verified if they're looking for that, as well as I have my own dog training page, www.craigmylek9, the letter K, number 9, training.com, where they can see some videos, and I try to put some tips and hits and tricks on there, and they can reach out to me on social media as well. So
I might need a few tips from you.
Yes.
I'll be reaching out.
Well, great. Larissa, James, thank you so much for being here. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you
Chad.
so much. Really
You're
appreciate it.
Yes.
And thank you for being here, GACers. And until next time, you keep the faith, keep smiling, and keep yakking and gacking.